Hi friends, welcome to the Share Report. If you're new here, thank you so much for joining. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. You know what to do. And for those who are returning, thank you so much for being here and for your support. I always appreciate it. Never underestimate my appreciation for you being here and for all of your support. Share this channel, get others involved. So that being said, I'm going to be doing a part 2 of the elimination of property taxes. I'm going to play the second part of the interview that I had with Ms. Karla Wagner in Michigan of Axmatax, the founder of Axmatax. We're going to talk a little more about the possible elimination of property taxes and the burden that it has on society, especially homeowners. And we're going to go into Mr. Rick Becker. He was able to get that on the ballot. And so that's where I left off. I asked her about that and she's going to dive deeper into that. So I'm going to play that clip. But first things first, you're probably wondering why I'm holding the dog. This is my mom's dog, Luna. In dog years, she's probably 80. So she's very antique, but she's so sweet and so precious. I wanted to include her, and she just had a bath, because other than that, I would not be holding her if she didn't have a bath. But anyway, so with that being said, I wanted to talk more about the property tax. So one thing people don't realize when they ask the same question over and over again, oh, what are we going to do with schools? What are we going to do about roads? I get where you're coming from, but also at the same time, I get tired of hearing that, because if you really realize how much our government spends, you would never even say that whatsoever. And if you realize how many hands property taxes go through, you'd be flabbergasted how much money that our government is receiving just from property taxes. So for instance, say a dog food company, like let's say Farmer's Dog, they're based in New York. So let's say that they own the building that they're doing production and everything. So let's say the supplies that they have, say that they buy chicken from a place to make Farmer's Dog ingredients for dog food. So the place that they buy the chicken from, those people, if they own their land, or if that land is they're buying that land, they're paying property taxes. So the Farmer's Dog is buying chicken from someone, they're buying beef from someone. They may be buying the vegetables that they add in the food from someone. So all these people who have businesses and that are purchasing their buildings where they're doing their production, they are actually paying property taxes. Farmer's Dog, they may be paying property tax if they own the building or are purchasing the building that they're doing production for dog food. So think about all the hands of all these ingredients, all the locations. These people are paying property taxes, and all of that gets passed on to whatever you were purchasing. So you have to really consistently think about that. Does it really require so much money? So, and I mentioned before about DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency that Elon and Vivek are doing right now. They're just volunteering to do that, and they're exposing how much our government is actually spending just irresponsibly. If you realize how much money is going through their hands, the thought of property taxes would just be completely out of your mind. We will be able to have tons of beautiful schools, beautiful paved roads, like golden roads, with how much money that our government is wasting. So I wanted to put that into your mind about how many hands, or how much every single ingredient that we have with people that have businesses, they're purchasing their businesses, or they may own their property, that they're paying property taxes. So every little thing is going through the hands of property taxes into the government's hands. So think about that the next time you say, well, what are we going to do about schools? What are we going to do about, our roads and everything? Just think about that. So we're going to dive deeper into that, and we're going to get started with this video. Share this, please share this, because the more people who are educated, the more people get involved, the better we are and the stronger we are as Americans, as citizens, and the brighter our future will be. So share this video, and here we go into part 2 with Ms. Karla Wagner, and see you in the next video. Thanks. They do. So I know I had mentioned last we had spoke on the phone about Mr. Rick Becker and in North Dakota. So you said that he needed how many votes or signs for or let's say signatures?
Based on the population and the figure and the calculation of however they calculate theirs, he only needed 32,000 clean signatures. But you know what? North Dakota doesn't have a very big population, right? And
Right.
they're very spread out. The big state, sparsely populated. So it took a huge effort to get, he got 40,000 signatures.
Okay.
So
40,000.
he had enough clean signatures to get it on the ballot.
Okay.
But as soon as he got it on the ballot, that's when all of the unions came out against it and said, oh, you're going to close the schools and you're going to lay off all the teachers. Well, no, we're not. And you're going to close all the fire departments and lay all the firemen off. No, we're not. You're going to lay off all the police. No, we're not. What we want the government to do is prioritize their spending. Our government here in Michigan is spending money on everything but essential services. Our roads aren't good. Our infrastructure is not good. Our police departments are shrinking. They can't get people to work for the county. I mean, it's like, but they're spending money on splash pads and pickleball courts. Come on, people.
Right.
That's not what we need,
Right.
right? Those are luxuries if you have money left laying around, or if someone in your community leaves a sizable donation and says, you know what, in my name, build a pool for the community. Okay, awesome. But don't take it from people at the risk of them losing their house
Right.
and their property. You
Right.
can't tell me that a pickleball court is worth someone losing their house.
It's not. I agree.
It's not. And all of our government entities, township, county, and states, are on this just a runaway train.
Mm-hmm.
Runaway train. And the more money, and as inflation drives our property values up, and we send them more, so last year, like you said, you looked, so last year, for example, let's just say last year Ebony sent them $1,200 in property taxes, and this year, due to inflationary issues, Ebony's going to send them $1,500. Okay, they're getting $300 more for the exact same house,
Right.
right? They have not done anything to earn that extra $300.
Right.
But because of inflation, they're now going to make $1,500 off Ebony's house instead of $1,200.
Mm-hmm.
How many houses do you have in your community? And they're all paying. So even if you had 10,000 houses in your community and they all each paid another $300, what's that math? 10,000 times 300. You got five zeros. $300,000 or $3 million? They get just like that.
Right.
Just like that. They didn't do a thing.
Yeah.
So why do our property tax millages, why do our net millages never go down?
Mm-hmm.
Because they can say from last year to this year, we received $2 million more in property taxes that we really didn't need, but we're going to spend it anyway because
Right.
we're going to get more next year.
Mm-hmm. And there's
Lower
more
my
people.
millages.
Yes, I agree. And there's more people moving to Florida. There's consistently more and more people move, especially this is like the fastest growing town,
Yeah.
so there's more and more people moving into the state. So they're collecting more and more money. So I do have another question. So someone had made a comment about um, obviously that you shouldn't have to continue paying taxes or property taxes on something that you bought one time. So and I thought about that. I'm like, that kind of makes sense because we don't continue, like, let's say that I buy the lamp that's on my table here. I only paid the 7% tax when I purchased it the one time. So what are your thoughts on that? Like, just when a person buys a home, they pay a large tax or some sort of large tax, property tax, that one time for purchasing the home. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, so it's that's kind of what property tax does, right? Property taxes keep taxing you year after year after year. Even though, so when you buy your house, okay, so when you buy your house, it's on a piece of property.
Right.
So you're buying the house and the property together,
Right.
going to a bank and you're saying, the house is 200,000. I have my 10% down. I have $20,000 down. I need to borrow 180,000 from the bank.
Mm-hmm.
You are buying the house and the property. You are paying your mortgage payment, the loan, from the bank, you're paying them back, and you're paying insurance, and you're paying property taxes every year, right? You do pay transfer tax so when the seller sells it to you,
Right.
he is paying in Michigan, you pay a real estate transfer tax. That is to transfer the deed out of his name into your name.
Okay.
That really should be all that you have to pay. It's not a sales tax. Why are you paying sales tax on a home? Right? I see you pay a sales tax on a vehicle, right? But then they want you to pay that sales tax. If you sell it to somebody else, they want the person that you sell the car to pay sales tax at a used value, right? Lesser value.
Right.
But with a home, when you're paying that, because to me, that's kind of, that property tax is almost like a sales tax.
Okay.
You keep paying it year after year after year after year. But if
Right.
you don't pay it, it takes your house away.
Right.
You're basically renting your house from the government.
Right. Right. So basically, we should just have a one time, not continual every month when we pay our mortgage, just the one time, almost like you were saying, like a transfer fee, just the one time, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And the seller pays it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because he's selling you the home.
Right.
So he should pay real estate transfer tax because he's selling the home to you. And that's all that should be paid on it. Because you know that when you're paying a mortgage, if you're paying a mortgage over 30 years, that $180,000 mortgage ends up being $400,000 because of all the
Right.
interest, right?
Mhm.
So you're paying the bank interest, right? But when you transfer the property from one entity, from one person to another, there is a real estate transfer tax that takes place. That's all it should be. That's all it should be. And
Right.
property tax is nothing to do with the house. It's based on the house's value,
Yeah.
but who gets to assess that value? The
Exactly.
assessor. Who does the assessor work for? The county. Who wants your money? The county. Why is the very entity that wants and needs your money they're the ones that get to set the value of
Mhm.
your house? I mean, here in Michigan, we had a school district that was actually suing a county assessor and the county for not assessing people's houses enough to give the school what they felt they needed.
Wow.
Think about that. So now you have a school coming in there going, yeah, we need $20 million more. So you're going to have to bump those property values up. So when we charge the millage, we get more revenue, right? Because every year, Ebony, here in Michigan, again, we have millages that get voted on, and they're 10, 15, 20-year millages. So the first year, they say, this is going to be a 20-year millage. So we're going to collect this millage from you on your property taxes every year for 20 years. Well, the first year, if your house value is $200,000, they're going to take 200 times the millage and they're going to get that money, right? But the second year, now your house is valued at 205. So they're going to take 205 times that millage. The second year, they'll get more than they did the first year. The third year, they'll get more than they did the second and the first year, right? Every year. They're not going to get just, if they said collectively, we're going to get $2 million the first year from everybody in the community. Well, by year 20, instead of 2 million, they could be collecting $20 million a year by year 20.
Right.
But how not only how property values go up, but how many more houses enter into the community?
Exactly. That's
It's like, how much money did you need? You needed this amount of money. How much money are you going to end up with?
right.
This amount,
Yes. More.
right?
Right. Right. I do.
Stay tuned for part 3 of this conversation with Ms. Karla Wagner of Axma Tax. We will dive deeper into property tax elimination and talk a little bit about eminent domain. In the meantime, like, share, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.